had a rough day because I had to spend so much time finishing up that slideshow, but I got the credit for it at the end, so I guess it was worth it.
Yeah, definitely worth it then.
Man, I can't believe it's already been over a month since the tragedy took place.
Yeah, it's insane. It's one of those things that like you'd think as a country would come together, but the left just refuses to.
Oh, 100%. I actually am kind of appalled by the handling of this matter by the left. It's pretty embarrassing, honestly, for them, and it's pretty abhorrent. I never in a million years imagined them to handle the death of a political figure, even on the right, in such a horrendous manner. It's insane.
Yeah. The thing is that we're completely different from the left. The left, they burnt down cities when someone died. We had prayer vigils. Mm-hmm. So we are not the same whatsoever.
Oh no, of course not. Of course not. Of course not. It's insane because I feel as if, say, something happened to anyone on the left. I'm not going to give specific names because we know how this app can be. Anyone on the left, something happens to them, you just know damn well that the right would be praying about it in their churches, would, be saying that although I disagree with the individual, I don't wish this upon anybody, and no one deserves to be unalive for expressing their political beliefs. And yet on the left, we have people who, even now, a month plus later, are still just celebrating the death of the unaliving, I should say, of someone who, in my opinion, even regardless of what you believe politically, should get a lot of praise for the fact that he went and tried to speak to the people who disagreed with him. It's something that no one else in the political commentary on the right or left wanted to do.
I 100% agree with that. The thing is that the left just wants everyone to have their opinion, and I don't understand why these idiots want to go ahead and say that. They just don't like having discourse whatsoever. The left is honestly so deranged. It's like, what's the point of even trying to discuss with them now?
100%. I'm pretty concerned, to be honest. I'm pretty concerned, though, that it's Charlie Kirk's birthday today, and it was about 32, 33 days ago he was unalived, and I still know people on the left, don't know like personally, but I'm still seeing people on the political left who are celebrating the tragedy that took place and are making jokes about it, mocking it. And it's not what I expected, honestly. It really isn't. After it took place, I expected, those on the left to, maybe I expected some of the stupid, oh, well, he was a racist or this and that for a second. But I never expected a month plus later we would still have people on the left making jokes about it and whatnot. It's insane.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Now, as you know, I want to look today as a celebration for Charlie. I think that's what he wanted, and that's what obviously Erica wants. So I want to go ahead and talk about everything that Charlie did for the youth, because there's no question about it that he is the 100% the main reason why Trump won the election.
Well, yeah, that's got a lot of merit to back up. We've seen a lot of demographic shift to the right in 2024. I've made videos about this, but one of the often forgotten upon demographics, we always talk about how Hispanics move to the right and whatnot. We talk about how Catholics move to the right, but what is kind of overlooked is that the younger generation saw significant shifts to the right, especially among men, but really just in general, significant shifts. It's unprecedented how much they moved right. And yeah, Charlie Kirk has to be given a lot of praise for that. You're not going to see Donald Trump receive like 45% of the 18 to 29 vote if Charlie Kirk didn't exist. You're not going to see him get the majority of 18 to 29-year-old men if it wasn't for Charlie Kirk. And that's the fact of the matter.
I agree.
So his form of activism worked. People, whether they want to hear that or not, his form of activism worked. And it's clear that, like, this is supposed to be celebratory, and it's clear that he needs a celebration because he is truly the biggest activist in America since Martin Luther King, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. The thing is that we're not going to see another Charlie Kirk, period.
No.
We may think that, but we're just not going to see it. Charlie was one of a kind. He was a one of a kind person. He was a one of a kind political activist. Now, we were talking about the swings that the young people had. So, for everyone's information, so Trump only lost the youth vote by only 4% in this past election. In 2020, he lost it by 25%.
Yeah.
Like, that is unprecedented. Now, even young women actually swung to Trump by 8 points.
Yep.
Now, he still lost young women by 17 points, but that big of a margin, freaking fantastic. Now, young men in that same time frame went by Trump by plus 15.
Yeah, and in the previous election, I believe they were like D plus 17. So yeah, that's I'm just gonna be honest. You're not gonna see that if it wasn't for Charlie Kirk. I think all of these, conservative commentators play a role to an extent, but he was the guy who was actually getting off his ass. He wasn't just sitting and talking behind a mic. He was getting himself out there, talking to the other side, and showing what it means to be a conservative and debunking what the left claims it meant. And what that did is that incentivized young people in general, but especially young men, to consider, okay, maybe what I'm getting told on my college campuses every day isn't exactly true. Maybe there is some truth to getting married. Maybe there is some truth to having children. Maybe there is some truth to preserving the nuclear family. And maybe there is some truth to preserving my constitutional liberties. And what that does is that incentivizes young men to come out and vote for Donald Trump. Because even though Trump's far from perfect, don't get me wrong, he's far from perfect. He, at the very least, does represent the issues that I just outlined a lot better than the left.
I agree. And like everyone's, I know people are coming and going because they're expecting me to go ahead and crash out right now. Now, I mean, if you look at the description, I've said that the leftists unalive Charlie Kirk, which, is factual because these people don't want to go ahead and have civil discourse. Period. Yeah. But no, we're seeing the Charlie Kirk effect happen in real time. Now people are saying like, well, we're not seeing it in my state. We're not seeing it in my county. The thing is that this is a national effect. You're not really going to see it in your localities. The thing is that like, let's say you're in Maryland, you're in deep blue Maryland where I am. You're not going to be seeing this big shift necessarily already. What's going to happen is that you're going to be seeing these votes of people that were Democrat, and they're going to end up turning a bit more to the right. They might become your leaner tilt Democrats.
Now, what I'm worried about, though, in 2026, I'll say a few things. So I do believe we are going to do a lot better with moderates now, considering how, insane the left has went. However, what I'm worried about isn't moderates. I think we might even win the moderate vote, which would be insane considering it's a midterm election. What I'm worried about is conservatives actually showing up and voting. That's the problem, because we are the party of young, low propensity voters at this point. We are very often reliant upon working class voters, blue collar workers, and people who have a lot on their mind, a lot that they're worried about, a lot that they have to deal with, and politics sometimes can't just be a big hobby for them. So it's tough. I'm an anomaly, and I'm someone who I hope I'm helping get out the vote as I'm, canvassing, knocking doors, and, doing my part. But at the same time, we need more. I'm just one person. We need a lot of conservatives to get out, and we are Charlie Kirk. That's the mindset we need to have. We're not going to have, as a single individual, we won't see another Charlie Kirk, but we can have the Charlie Kirk effect if we do what Charlie would want us to do, and that is use this not as a way to pity. Yes, it's sad, don't get me wrong, but not to sit and pity, but instead use it as ammunition. And no, I don't mean physically, I mean it as a metaphor. Use it as a way to spread the conservative message and to get voters out, get involved in grassroots, and get the job done.
Yeah, I agree. I agree 100%. And it is something that we need to go ahead and build up on. And thankfully, we're seeing a lot of actual like conservatives or people with just conservative values go ahead and try to fill in that hole. Now, the thing is that we don't necessarily have a lot of people that are willing to go ahead and take up that mantle. And that's the thing. We need a lot more people to take up the mantle.
What's up, dude?
It just can't be one of us. So now I will say this: if yeah, can you hear us? Okay.
All right, man.
Yeah. I will say this to everyone that if I need to be the person to pick up the mantle, I will be. I have no problem doing it.
Yeah.
But the thing is that we need more people to help out, though.
Yeah. So it's my thing right now. I see some people say, okay, well, knocking doors is. Some people have told me that knocking doors is just something they're too nervous to do because they don't want to show their face. They're nervous, about how people may react. And I understand that. It actually was kind of nervous to me to knock doors at first. I'll be honest, it is. But that's not really an excuse to not get involved in some sort of other way. If you have another full-time job, why are you not donating money? If you don't have a full-time job, why don't you at least see if you can make phone calls? Making phone calls is one of the easiest things you can ever do.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing is that like us running campaigns and all, we actually pay people for running even text messages. The thing is that we use these apps as well, to send out these text messages for campaigning and everything. So you guys aren't going to be using your actual number. As a matter of fact, you don't really need to use your full or legal name in the script that we would give you to send out to people.
Yeah, not to mention you don't actually read the entire script either. That's something a lot of people struggle. If you read the entire script, you honestly should be fired. It's terrible to read the entire script, in my opinion. Do you read the entire script?
No, not at all. Well, the thing is that you got to tailor it to each person.
Yeah. So what I do is that now in today's day with like ChatGPT and stuff, honestly, what you might as well do if you're like struggling with it, copy the script, send it to the AI, and say, shorten this up for me. If you want to be like that, cool. That'll make your job easier. But yeah, I just shorten it up myself, and it's not that difficult. It really isn't. It doesn't take having some, ridiculous level of political knowledge to do it. Like if you're just someone who has general political knowledge, but you want to help your cause, you want to help spread your message, then I promise you can really make a difference, and you can really mobilize a lot of people.
Yeah, definitely. It just takes one person. If you're able to go ahead and affect one person in this, then they can affect one person. That's just going to keep on steamrolling.
Exactly. It adds up very quickly. Do you think we'll get more people in here if I try going live, or no? Do you not think it'll change anything?
Probably won't change anything. What will probably change is if I go ahead and start yelling at them. I can do that.
Wait, what'd you say? If you
I can start yelling at the liberals.
Oh yeah. Well, no one's in here though. That's the problem. Like it's just me, you, and
trust me. I can go ahead and really piss these people off.
I'm on this account right now, and for some reason the BAN word happens, then I'd rather be on this account than my other one.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. No, but no, I mean, like I said, I can, if I really want to stir up the pot, I can get the liberals in here very fast. Yeah, so if you want me to do that, I'll literally do it.
Do it, I don't care.
All right. All you fucking liberals killed Charlie Kirk. I'm sorry to break it to you, but you guys did. Y'all are the reason. Y'all are the reason why a man is unalive. You're the reason why a man is 6 feet under right now. Oh. You can go ahead and say I'm crashing out or whatever, but y'all are the reason. You guys are the fucking problem with this country. Oh, what's up, Enoch? Thank you, Enoch. Thanks, Enoch. Okay. We're just trying to piss off liberals tonight, and just remember Charlie Kirk. Thank you once again for the roses and everything, Enoch. Very much appreciate it, brother. Here. I mean, the thing is, Patriot, like, I'm not really too worried about people seeing this right now, considering I'm also recording this stuff on YouTube and on Instagram at the same time. You know, I multi-stream, so.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I forgot you multi-stream. How do you do that, by the way?
So right now I'm using StreamYard. I'm recording on my phone for the live stream, obviously, because I have to. And I'm just using StreamYard to literally just record the screen on TikTok and go ahead and have it on the other platforms. So
is that how, like, when we did our debates in the server, that's how you're able to use StreamYard?
Yeah, 100%.
Okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah. Speaking of which, we need that debate between you and Chase needs to happen already. It needs to happen, man. I'm sorry. It's got to happen. We keep making excuses. It's got to happen.
No, I mean, I'm in a better place mentally, so I mean, like, it will happen soon. Just gotta free up some more time for you guys.
Well, yeah, but yeah, it needs to happen, and I'm also wanting to. I'm still wanting to see some other debates in the server. The server, by the way, this is another thing I want to say. I think our political server is another useful tool because it can also be used to mobilize people.
Yeah,
it definitely can be. I love our server. I also think, I mean, we got that thing up to 43 people already. That's pretty quick.
Yeah, I mean, it's a very good way to impact people. Just
like
I will say that we don't have a lot of people that are active on there, but I mean, it's what it is. Yeah, we don't have a lot of people on there, but like the few people who are really informal give a whole host of information, and it lingers out to everyone, so it's important. Yeah. Okay, what's up, Cardi? And like I said, the thing is that this one, like, if I really wanted to get this live going, this is just one, like, I just want to sit, chill with you guys, talk about the influence that Charlie Kirk had, and we're going to be just chilling and talking about it. We're going to have a lot of these clips actually for TikTok itself for us, too. Obviously, we all have issue with, the way Candace Owens has stood on his grave, no doubt. But I would like to say, though, point out, though, that Charlie Kirk's viewpoint on the blue and white state there is actually serious evidence that his opinion on them 100% had shifted. That text message has been proven to be true now. Now, does it really mean anything? Does it mean they quote unquote took him out? No, that's not what I'm implying at all. That's ridiculous. That's stupid. But what I am saying, though, is I think it's very telling, though, if Charlie Kirk was even changing his mind on this issue. And I think it's something that needs to be a reminder to the GOP. Because right now, the GOP establishment tends to believe that this foreign government should be preserved over our own people. And I think that's a bunch of ludicrous. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous that, like we voted for American First policies. Right. We're not getting them right now, it seems like. We're going ahead. We're having these endless wars still. Yeah, Trump has ended quite a bit of them, so great. But when does the America First start? That's the real question. Yeah, I think I'll say this. So, Charlie Kirk again advocated for America First foreign policy. Charlie Kirk wanted the American people to be put first, not just by his slogan. He truly wanted such. Charlie Kirk advocated for the common man. He had some populist tendencies. He was obviously very conservative in preserving the nuclear family. And the issue that I have right now, though, is that if you look at the GOP establishment, they look at Charlie Kirk's message and they don't really even think that maybe they should try to mirror some of it.
And
Yeah.
it's just like, you understand he's the reason that we won in 2024. The establishment shills, you did nothing for us. You didn't do anything for us. If anything, you hurt us. So it's like, why don't you maybe look at yourself in the mirror and consider that maybe the way Charlie Kirk was speaking to voters, maybe some of his policies, or some of the policies he supported, I would say, is the better route.
Yeah, I mean, with Charlie Kirk, it's honestly like, are we really just going to go ahead and put the pin in and just like we're going to just forget about the movement that this man started? Because like that's what it seems like the establishment to conservatives want to do. They want to go ahead and forget about the movement that Charlie already put into play. Yeah, and not to mention the fact you could argue that the Trump administration wants to as well.
Yeah, and that's my thing right now, is that's why I'm struggling, like, with, again, I obviously, I'm a conservative activist. I don't really know, though, and this is going to sound crazy because I'm obviously fighting for Republican candidates. It's hard for me to even call myself a Republican, though, because I look at the establishment GOP, and that doesn't reflect me. Okay? Like, yes, a lot of their conservative viewpoints I like, but you look more into like the outsider GOP. That's who I tend to agree with more. But my point is that the GOP establishment doesn't seem to understand that we need to be taking the more Charlie Kirk approach about everything. We need to take the more, the President Trump approach based on what he said. Maybe not what the actions he's actually doing, but based on what Trump promises. That's how you win elections. Only thing is, I wish we were actually getting those promises fulfilled, and that's kind of a debate.
Yep. So Ty just said they're all old and don't even want to update their ways to get new people in the party. Definitely.
100% true, Ty. 100% true. 100% true. Anthony, out of curiosity, Anthony, what do you think about John Bolton?
John Bolton?
Yeah. You know who he is, or did you forget?
Might have forgotten. Let me look at him.
You'll remember right when you look him up.
Oh, that cuck. Yeah, he's one of the people that hate me.
So Bolton knows you?
Yeah.
Yeah, so Bolton, what did Trump appoint him to? I keep forgetting what he appointed him to, but Trump had him in his cabinet.
He was the national security advisor.
Back in gosh, I didn't know that. Oh, that's awful, dude. He gave him a really high-ranking position. That's terrible.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awful, man. Yeah, well, you see, John Bolton is exactly what if the Republican Party wants to know what to do, they should look at John Bolton and do the opposite. DeSantis said something that was so good. He said that in Florida, he has a cheat code as governor of Florida.
He looks at California and he does the opposite.
Illinois and New York, and he does the opposite. That alone is why I believe that is who should be the 48th president of the United States.
I mean, like that's why, like I told you, like I supported him during the primary.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I even say that we would have been better off with DeSantis than with Trump right now.
Oh, I agree. Who's fishy face?
Do you know who that is?
Waiting to see what happens.
Do you know who Fishy Face is?
No, I don't know, but you can let them in. I don't care.
Oh, well, let's see who they are.
All right. What's up, dude?
Hello. What's going on, guys?
Where do you stand politically? Are you conservative, liberal?
I'm probably like center left. I would probably say I'm like a Democrat.
Okay, so out of curiosity, how do you feel about the whole Charlie Kirk situation?
I don't think anybody should be dying for political violence, unless because I feel like I think everyone should agree that to a certain extent, political violence is okay, right? Once they start to like centralize power into one form of the government, and they take away all your other rights to protest or to stand against that government, then political violence is okay, right?
Okay. So like if we can't say his name, but if someone were to have taken out Mustache Dude in Germany, that would have been okay.
Yeah, I would say that'd be fine.
And I would agree with that as well. But
Okay.
when it comes to Charlie Kirk, who was just expressing general conservative viewpoints with some elements of libertarianism and populism, which are again very popular viewpoints and are far from extreme, it's not okay to take them out. Do we agree?
Okay. Yeah, I agree. I agree they shouldn't have been unalived. And I wish that the leader of the Republican Party had the same viewpoint as me. I wish he believes that no one should be dying for political reasons. But I don't think he believes that.
Wait. What makes you believe? Wait, so are you referring to Trump?
Yeah.
So what makes you think that Trump believes people should get unalived for political violence?
Because of the way he talks. Okay. Did you see the interview with him on Fox and Friends?
Yeah. I actually I don't know though. Which one are you referring to? He's been
the
on
most
there.
recent one where he like said that they found the guy who unalived Charlie.
I did not see that. You can fill me in on what happened.
So they asked him. They said that for the Republicans that want violence, can you tell them that that's not what Charlie wanted? And he then says, Charlie would have wanted to fight in the ballot box, but the ballot box is rigged. So right there, he is inciting. He is not discouraging violence. He is inciting it, and he keeps talking about how the radical left is so radical, and they took out Charlie without even knowing who the shooter was. He immediately started claiming that it was somebody on the left, and then saying not discouraging political violence that comes from the right.
So where in that is he even implying for political violence? I just want you to fill me in there because nothing that you just said is explicit or implicitly stating that he is supportive of violence against the opposition. And again, I have criticized Donald Trump and many things he says. I think that Donald Trump definitely should. I think the way he articulates himself is questionable at best. I think that Donald Trump has a lot of issues, and I'm supportive of him. Don't get me wrong, voted for him proudly, definitely voted for him in the primary over Nikki Haley. But at the same time, yeah, I've criticized him. With that in mind, though, I don't understand where you're coming from or where you're getting that Donald Trump supports political violence.
Because when you are asked to discourage violence that comes from your side, and you don't, you are encouraging it, right? Then when you are encouraging it, then you keep talking about how radical the left is, and you keep talking about how they rig elections and how the ballot boxes are rigged, so there's no other way to fight. Well, in that quote,
so here's my question. All right, with him going ahead and saying that the ballot boxes is rigged, so my interpretation of that is not him saying go ahead and pick up and take arms.
Yeah, that's what I was just about to say.
He's most likely saying what he's saying is that we need to just fix our system on how the votes are counted.
But the
question... wait. Yeah, time out real quick. I just wanted to say this. Yeah. So calling for election reform is a policy. Yeah. It's not saying that, okay, because I believe the election is rigged, I want someone to get violent against the other side. Right.
But the question wasn't about it wasn't about voting. The question was about violence, and they asked him to discourage people on the right who want violence. And he said that Charlie would have wanted them to fight in the ballot box, but they can't fight in the ballot box. So instead of discouraging violence on his side, he encouraged it. Because when somebody asks you to discourage violence and you don't, you are encouraging violence.
Have you ever seen the clips? Have you ever seen have you ever seen the host of clips of, it's like long compilations of President Trump condemning white supremacy and far right, political violence, what we refer to as far right. It's not really far right because they're not fiscally conservative, but by social and cultural standards, I guess it is. Have you seen the host of clips and compilations of Trump condemning such? Because that alone is my evidence that, again, I don't agree with everything that Trump says, and I have already said I very much oppose the way he articulates himself very often. Mm-hmm. However, I'm getting nothing from you here that suggests President Trump is implying support for political violence.
Okay, if you were the leader of a political movement, and some people on your, I'm not saying everyone, I'm saying some people on your political side were wanting to, let's say something happens like the shooting of Charlie Kirk, and some people on your side want revenge, and they want to take up arms and stuff. And then somebody asks you, do you disavow those people? And you say no. Are you encouraging violence, or are you not encouraging violence?
Well, here, let me ask you something. Did President Trump incite violence on January 6th? Yes or no?
I would think so, yeah. But that's not.
He did. Okay. What exactly that President Trump said suggests he incited violence on January 6th?
We're not talking about that right now.
We're not talking about that. That has everything to do with what
I know, but I'm trying to get you to realize that in that clip he was we can go to January 6th, but in that clip, do you say that was inciting violence or encouraging violence, or do you think that was discouraging violence?
I don't think it was necessarily explicit with either or, and I don't even think it was implicit with either or. I think it's pretty clear. What he was saying is that what I think he was implying is that if fighting at the ballot box isn't working, then you have to fight for election reform. I think he was just making a talking point. But you can grab from that clip that he was saying, "Hey, everyone, go be violent against the opposition," because. No. If that's what he wanted, do you think he wouldn't have said that already? I mean, listen. I'm about to say something that is going to be a rare moment where I may even sound like I'm not a conservative for a half second. But some of President Trump's big-time, supporters act like they're in a cult. I will say that right now and admit that. I'm not one of those people, and I can't stand people who act like that. But some of his supporters do act like such. You think if he really was wanting political violence against the left, he wouldn't have said that explicitly, knowing that some of his cult-like supporters would act out on that. If that's what he wanted, he could make it happen easily. It's pretty clear that's not what he wanted.
It's not a good point, because that's like saying if Israel wanted to commit a genocide, they would have just nuked Gaza. Of course they wouldn't. You know what I mean? Sometimes you have to be discreet about certain things. You can't go right out and say maybe we should we should unalive everyone on the left. Of course he's not going to say that. What he's going to do is he's going to kind of walk around the question, and he's going to say, man, you have nothing. You guys can't stand up anymore. You guys can't fight for your rights anymore. Something has to happen, blah, blah, blah. But in that question, the question wasn't, should we change how how people vote in the U.S., or should we pass bills? It was nothing like that. It was, they asked him to discourage political violence on the right, and instead he said he encouraged it.
Okay, I have something else I want to say. So on the left, and I have talked to people who believe this, by the way.
Patriot, let's slow down real quick. Let's read off what Ty said for him real quick.
Oh, sorry, my bad. Okay, so Ty said, so you can read it. Actually, you're the host.
Yeah. So what is the difference? Someone who says, hey, take 10 or more people with you to the ballot box. That's just what Ty said. He just wants that answered from you.
What does that mean?
So what he's basically saying is if you go ahead and you bring 10 people to go vote, it's basically what he's saying. So he's saying basically, how is that really, I guess he's saying how is that different from saying basically what Trump said, if that makes sense.
Take someone.
Now,
wait, but
I'll let you speak.
Encouraging people to vote for the side that you want. That's nothing like, I'm confused on, that's nothing like what Trump said.
Well, I have another question for you, actually. I have another question for you. people on the political left, and I know a lot of people on the political left who truly believe, and they'll say this often, that President Trump wants to reinstitute slavery for a specific demographic of people. I'm not even going to say the exact words because this app can be sensitive. No joke, you have to be careful even saying. I'm not talking about saying like bad things. I mean, like actually, you have to be careful saying which race of people. We know which one because we know which race of people will.
Yeah.
So there are people who truly believe President Trump wants to reinstitute slavery in this country. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And I would argue that the reason they believe that is because, and in fact, this is a fact, is because of the far left,
He might have gotten like a call or something.
Oh.
You know how that happens. Pick up where you just left off.
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, so what I was trying to say is that, so people, a lot of the establishment on the far left has essentially, they've implied that President Trump is the most racist individual on the planet.
Right.
That President Trump is guilty of X, Y, Z. President Trump is a fascist. President Trump is, on the same level as that party that started with an N in Germany. And things like that encourages people to get violent. None of those things I just outlined that many people on the left have said about Trump is true. Okay? Keep in mind, Joy Reid, and I have a clip of her doing it, has compared Donald Trump to the mustache dude in Germany. Do you not think that, and by the way, she said this about a week before his attempted assassination. Do you or do you not think that that is a clear incitement of political violence? Because you're arguing President Trump's implying incitement with a clear, statement he's making in regards to voting reform. How are you not going to also say that people on the left are guilty of inciting violence at much greater rate?
Okay. So when you say people on the far right, on the far left, first, I haven't seen the quote you're talking about, and I don't know, but you're telling me what to look up, and I'll look it up and stuff. And if it's comparing two actions, that's not inciting violence because that's pointing something out. This is something that he's doing that is related or similar to somebody else who's really bad, who's doing the same thing. That if that's what was going on, then I don't think that's as it could incite violence, but I don't think that's as insightful as.
Well, here's the exact.
Wait, but also I have one more thing. Okay, what you just did was a whataboutism. Instead of sticking on the claim of what Trump said, you changed to what something that a Democrat said. And I would like if we could stick to. I want to convince you guys that he wasn't just talking about voting, but he was talking about political violence.
Well, you're trying to convince that, but I'm not trying to make a personal attack at all, but you're not really making much of an argument because not only are we not being convinced, we're not getting anything from this. But here's actually the exact quote I'm going to play real quick. Here's the exact quote of Joy Reid. If you're arguing President Trump was implying violence in any way, I don't know how you wouldn't say this isn't pretty explicit because this is at a much greater rate. Ready? Here it is. This is Joy Reid. Not yet. Here it is.
Y'all just tell me who the nominee is going to be. Let me know when you guys are finished fighting amongst yourselves who I got to vote for in November to keep Hitler out the White House. That's all I want to know. Who I got to vote for to keep Hitler out the White House. Y'all do your thing. Play and train.
So and that's a week before.
I actually I barely heard anything.
Okay, so here's I'll say it again. I'll actually just say what she said. So this is Joy Reid. She said she's speaking in regards to when it was up in the air who the Democratic nominee was going to be about a year ago. Okay, a year and a half ago. So they didn't know. This was before Biden had dropped out. It was following the first debate and the question. Everyone was wondering if Biden was or wasn't going to drop out. And this is Joy Reid right here. Ready? She says. She basically said, the Democrat Party, please get your stuff together and just let me know who I got to vote for to keep mustache dude in Germany out of the White House. Who I got to vote for to keep mustache dude in Germany out of the White House. Is that not inciting violence?
I would say, yeah, it's inciting violence.
Okay, so I'm just going to let you know that there's much more. I can show example after example after example of people on the left stating this. I can't find much of people on the right stating even what you're implying. So
hold up.
Political violence. Thank you.
Wait, so so first off, I can say it's inciting violence, right? First, I don't want to get down a path about what a bunch of people have said. I want to stick to what Trump is saying right now. Then we can change to what these Democrats are saying. once I at least let me try to convince you that he is inciting violence when he says this, okay? Then we can move on to what other Democrats, we can move on to what Democrats say. Let's stick point by point. I don't want to argue 2 points. I don't want to argue this and then also argue a Democrat. So, okay. So when if let's say, I don't know. I'm horrible at analogies. But if I was asked to, because they asked, what do you have to say about people on the right who want political violence and want revenge? That was the question. Okay, it wasn't about voter reform. It wasn't about any of that. It was about what do you have to say about people on the right who want political violence? And they also asked. They said, tell them, and can you tell them that's not what Charlie would have wanted? So then, instead of saying, yeah, we shouldn't want to take up arms and get revenge and unalive a Democrat. Instead, what they say is, instead he says he would have wanted us to fight in the ballot box, but we can't do that anymore. They're rigged. So instead of he inflamed it. Instead of calming down political violence, he inflamed it.
Okay, so again, that's not how I would have articulated myself if I'm President Trump, but I'm not President Trump.
Right.
I am not going to condone that at all, and I didn't condone it, by the way, the entire time we talked. But at the same exact time, I think it's kind of a far cry to insinuate that is implying political violence.
Wait.
I think that what it is it's President Trump trying to make a gotcha moment. It's President Trump trying to make a point about an issue. And it's him dodging a question that he didn't really feel inclined to answer, because at the end of the day, if he answers it with, yeah, people on the right don't get violent, which he should have done that. But if he does that, that doesn't really win him political points necessarily.
Okay.
People on the left don't give a shit if he answers that, because they're going to find a way to see him as evil regardless.
Right. But okay. The difference is that everybody, almost every major, huge person on the left, when Charlie Kirk got shot, said we all need to turn on the violence. Even when Trump got shot in the ear, they said this. They have been disavowing violence forever. And when you have Trump, on the other hand, who is going on Fox and Friends and saying literally the opposite to his own supporters, that's where we get a problem. And then also okay.
People on the left and disavowing violence forever? What are you talking about? I think Anthony wanted to get in, though. I've been talking a lot. Anthony, you can go now.
Yeah. So what I want to tell you right now is someone that works in politics, works on campaigns, right?
Mm-hmm.
So when people are already not going ahead and show it, for instance, in this one for political violence, right?
Mm-hmm.
When the people are already not doing it, we're not going to have the candidate go ahead and state it. This is just something that we do. We don't have the candidate go ahead and go like, oh yeah, political violence on the right, stop it, right? The thing is that the stuff with the Charlie Kirk stuff, it wasn't going on, so that's when we just discourage from them to just answering a question like that. That's just something that we do in politics. That comes from both sides. Right. Now, what I will say this, you brought up with Trump getting pew-pewed in the ear.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Now, the left, I will say that they say the political violence needs to stop. But what they did, literally about a week later, they turned up that heat once again, especially President Joe Biden at the time.
Okay. But the problem is that political violence has happened on the right. And Trump hasn't.
I'm not saying that it hasn't. And he's not necessarily saying it hasn't either.
Mm-hmm. In
this situation, and this is what we're saying, because we've talked about this in politics. I've talked to the Trump administration, stuff like that. I have quite a few friends that work in it. When it comes to something this particular, when they were talking about the Charlie Kirk thing,
right?
And if people are not doing it, you don't talk about it. Instead, you go ahead, you win your brownie points.
Yeah, but, so, okay.
Wait, I'm going to be honest real quick. I just want to say this. This isn't President Trump. This isn't President Trump calling for political violence. This is President Trump doing something called playing politics.
Yeah, but when you play politics, okay. Hold on. I first want to talk about what the other guy said. So, So even when political violence has happened on the right, he hasn't disavowed it. He said, "Oh, it wasn't my fault. It's not the Republicans, not the Republicans' fault." And even when the lawmakers got shot in Minnesota, he didn't say anything. You know what I mean? And it gets to the point where he's not disavowing violence on his side. He continues to push violence on his side, and he says, and then even when the shooter, before we even knew who the shooter was, he was already making assumptions on who they were. That right there is like, it is horrendous. When you have somebody who gets shot, and then the president of the United States turns this into a political movement to push the right and assume who the person who pew-pewed Charlie Kirk was, then he says then he doesn't disavow people on the right who want to start political violence. This becomes a problem. And it's like a thing where it's like he never disavows his own side. Nobody on the right ever does. You know what I mean? They never disavow anybody on their side. The left is constantly doing it. The left is constantly saying, "Guys, we all need to calm down." It's like we're getting cucked every single time.
People on the right never
Okay,
disavow
so you say that no one on the right does it. All right, so
Well, nobody
What?
major.
no one major. Okay,
Yes.
January 6th, Trump said, and I quote, "Peacefully and patriotically let your voices be heard." And as soon as he found out people were getting violent, he told them to go home and stop what they were doing.
Okay. Wait,
On January 6th, I want you to keep in mind.
And when people were tearing down like the statues and everything, when he said, people go like, "Well, he said there were both good people on both sides." He was talking about the people that were peacefully protesting, and then he called out the white supremacists.
Correct.
Okay, but so when he says this,
How is that? How is that not him disavowing?
could you
political
imagine?
violence?
Could you imagine if let's say the person who Charlie Kirk was like the biggest, he was a trans, he was gay, he was all these different stereotypes, right? And he's the one who shot Charlie Kirk, right? And then you have like Joe Biden or like Obama or the Mandami or whoever. They all go like, "Guys, let's just all be peaceful." Like, wait, what? No, you should disavow your side, and we should all calm down. This is something that's it's
He
common.
has disavowed his side on numerous
No,
occasions.
he didn't. He said we all need to be peaceful. Like,
Okay, so this is what you're not understanding. Okay, so again, this is called playing politics. If your side of the aisle is not the one who is guilty of recent political violence, then you're not going to be condemning political violence. Okay, from your side. I'm not saying that's how they should do it. I'm just telling you that's what playing politics is. Okay. One sec, let me finish real quick.
Mm-hmm.
However, when President Trump's side has been the one guilty of such political violence, or people associated with his side, because again, I debate whether or not the fascists are really right wing, but that's a subject for a different time. But when the people on the right were the ones guilty of political violence, say in January 6th, or say in Charlottesville, President Trump made sure to condemn them on numerous occasions. And not just President Trump, the entire conservative commentators, all Republican politicians, disavowed January 6th, many of which even disavowed President Trump's handling of January 6th. And I personally am not one of those people. I don't think he's to blame for that happening peacefully and patriotically, making their voices heard, because his exact quote. But my point being is that when it's your side, it might seem right now that it's just the left right now. It's just the left right now condemning political violence. That's because it's just the left guilty of political violence in recent.
What happened in Minnesota with the two lawmakers and everyone pretending like it didn't happen? Nobody said
That's
anything
because
about
one, so ready, Minnesota, that thing in Minnesota, Trump didn't know about it. He even admitted
Oh
it.
my God! Give me a break. He's the president.
He
of the United States.
even
Come on.
a fishy face. It's all due respect. He admitted that he didn't know. Okay.
Okay.
And he said that if the governor went ahead and asked them to put the flags at half staff, he would have.
So wait.
You got to
so
understand that he didn't know what was going on.
Okay.
As the president of the United States, there's a lot of events that he does not know about.
Okay. Wait. So when Charlie Kirk gets shot, he immediately goes, well, guys, the radical left. But when two lawmakers get shot, he says it doesn't happen. Like, come on, dude. And then he doesn't even disavow his own side when it happens.
Okay, hey, listen, man. You're getting really emotional and really loud. And
Yes, because I'm emotional. I'm a liberal. Liberals are emotional, dude. I'm like but it's so crazy to think of. He didn't disavow violence. He didn't even disavow violence on his own side when the two lawmakers were shot. He was pretending it didn't happen. That's the ultimate argument. It's just say, oh, I didn't hear anything about it. I'm sorry.
Listen, we've given you numerous
Silly
examples
me.
already of President Trump disavowing violence even from his own side. Okay, so you can throw these other cases. The one in Minnesota, he did state he didn't know about it. I'm not saying he shouldn't have known about it. He should have, and I'm sure had the violence been left wing, I'm sure one of his advisors would have told him right away so he could get some political points. Okay, that's how politics works, though. I promise you, if a similar event that was more local, form of political violence happened, and say Biden or Obama was president at the time, guaranteed they wouldn't have said anything about it either unless they knew about it. Okay.
I have a question. How crazy would it be? How mad would Republicans be if when Donald Trump got shot in the ear, Joe Biden said, "Sorry, didn't hear about it. Whoops." Like,
okay, well, you're comparing. Wait, you're comparing a very high-profile figure, someone running for president, to some random state legislators in Minnesota that no one except for people in Minnesota know who the fuck they are.
Okay, you're also talking about these people that were not unalived on TV while people had like their cameras out too.
Yeah, that's true.
So
yeah, there's literal film of President Trump and Charlie Kirk getting one attempted and one actually successfully assassinated. So like it's filmed. Okay, like everyone knows about this. This made the news within seconds.
Wait, so I have a question. What if instead it was
this is disanalogous, dude. It's very disanalogous.
Okay, what if instead of Donald Trump, it was Charlie Kirk? What if Charlie Kirk got shot, and then every single person on the left said, "Sorry, didn't hear about it."
Okay, again, dude, it's, like I just said, this is disanalogous. Okay, so you're not giving a fair analogy.
The lawmakers who got shot were also on the news. It's not like nobody ever heard about this. People heard about this. People just didn't want to talk about it.
No, because
I want to be honest.
Dude,
I didn't hear about it until Trump heard about it.
I don't either.
Yeah.
Yeah. So here's what this would be analogous to. Okay, of course. Oh, I know he didn't leave. That was the other guy.
That was Ty. No worries.
Yeah, okay. So here's what this would actually be better analogous to. So I'll use my state as an example because I'm a red state and I'm in Indiana. What would be a better analogy is, say, Joe Biden's president and two random state legislators in Indiana. There's some sort of political violence against them, okay? And Biden ends up saying, I didn't hear about it. That's what it would be analogous to. And I'm not saying that I would like hearing Biden say that. Sure, I wouldn't. I'm not going to say that's him implying that he's inciting violence. So I would.
I've never said that was him inciting violence.
Okay,
I'm just saying it's a
fair,
chain of events. No, that's not what I was saying. I was saying the statement.
No. I was defending you right there.
Oh, my bad.
I said that is not what you said.
Sorry, my bad.
Okay. Well, okay. Fair enough. Okay, I understand that then. But my point being, though, is that I'm not saying I would like hearing Biden say that. I don't like hearing Trump say that he didn't hear about his. I feel like his advisors should be telling him about that before telling him about what's going on overseas. But that's a story for a different time.
Okay. So do you guys actually think that Trump didn't know about the two lawmakers?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yeah.
Even when
there's the thing. Like I said, when you're in office, or when you're running campaigns, you're going to not hear a lot of things.
Okay.
Things.
But even when my bad.
His stuff didn't necessarily make it may have made national news for like a few minutes, but that's literally a blip on a radar from someone that was going ahead and was basically being in pop culture.
Okay. But even when he did hear about it, do you guys think he should have said, "Whoa, guys, us on the left need to calm down"? I mean, but us on the right might need to calm down too. Instead of going on Fox and Friends and instead saying, "Guys, we can't vote anymore. Voting is rigged. We're cooked, guys. We're screwed." Like this, it's a series of events. It's a series of events that lead to some. There's already he's with the January 6th stuff. You might say, I don't think he incited January 6th. January 6th happened, right? It happened, and January 6th happened, and that was a result of everything that Trump has said. It's always there's and then even when he told the Proud Boys to stand back and stand by, every single Proud Boy was
Okay.
like, standing by, President. It's like,
Well,
dude.
okay, wait a minute. To be fair, with the whole Proud Boys thing, there's too many, like I said, host of clips, compilations of President Trump condemning white supremacy. So you can mention that one Proud Boy statement he made during I think it was the first presidential debate against Biden. Yeah, you can make that claim, but I have receipts that honestly carry much more weight because it's clip after clip after clip. But I'm not saying he should have said that. Again, I've already admitted to you, President Trump articulates himself like he's an 8th grader, and I don't defend that.
Okay, so would you guys say that sometimes Trump can and does incite violence sometimes?
I wouldn't say that he's ever explicitly incited violence, but I will say that January 6th would not have. I will agree with you. January 6th would not have happened if he didn't push the election is rigged so far. I will agree there.
Okay. All right, then I don't know. I think that's probably the closest middle ground we're gonna.
I'll say that, but then I do want to put an asterisk though, because I also think January 6th was nothing compared to how bad the media made it look.
Okay. All right. All right. I don't know, but I think that's with. Okay. I don't know.
Well, I mean, we have clips though of the Capitol Police essentially just escorting them to get from place to place. Yes, there are clips of people getting violent and acting like lunatics and thugs. Those do exist. I'm not denying that. But there's even more clips if you actually look into all the security camera, all the security videos, security tapes that first McCarthy released and then that Johnson released. You will see that there is a whole host of clips of the Capitol Police just essentially acting as a tour guide to just a bunch of people, essentially like they were on a field trip. And that's kind of what January 6th for the most part was a field trip, except for there was I'm not saying there weren't people who got violent, there were, but for the majority of people that were there, it was essentially a field trip.
All right. Well, when there is an attempt to an insurrection that delays the result of the counting of the votes and then the result of the insurrection, the result of the election, I wouldn't say that it was mostly. I wouldn't say it's mostly peaceful. But
well, it was mostly. Well, wait. Time out. People on the left claimed that the BLM riots were quote unquote or PLM protests, I should say, were mostly peaceful, and they would cite some stupid source that says 93% of protests are peaceful, without actually giving the context that yeah, sure, 93% of protests were peaceful on paper, but that's not keeping into account that there were like 7,000 BLM demonstrations, which means there were like 200 to 300 total riots, if you go off the numbers. And it caused over $2 billion in property damages. So if you have issue with, keep in mind, 90 plus, there were only maybe like 1,000 people at tops, 1,000 people tops who actually got violent January 6th. If you're going to claim that, I'm not okay with hearing mostly peaceful language because of what happened there, just because of the people who got violent, we can use that same logic with what happened in BLM and Antifa riots. And by the way, the BLM and Antifa riots, in my opinion, are way worse when you combine them all together than January 6th, and it's not even somewhat close.
Okay, wait. Okay, so first off, but those riots, you agree, had different goals.
Different goals, sure, but
okay.
Not necessarily. I don't know. What do you mean by different goals?
What I mean by different goals is that those two protests, one was about racial equality and police police violence and stuff. That is a riot. That is protests and riots that are
okay. So here's the
meant to push.
I apologize.
Meant to push a political movement and stuff like that. The purpose. A lot of those people who got violent January 6th, the purpose was to stop the result of the vote. That's what they were protesting for. Mm-hmm. Those two. That's not what they were protesting for. When you say that one is worse, you just mean by numbers of protests?
So that's not what they were protesting. Okay, so here's the issue. One sec. Just let me go real quick.
Mm-hmm.
So what you're doing here is you're giving the grace to the side that you more so agree with, and you're not giving the same grace to the other side. Let me explain. So on the left, I could easily say what they were actually protesting on with these BLM riots is a myth, because I have overwhelming evidence to show that there's not any data backing up the claim of the entire BLM movement. The idea that, a specific race of people is getting unalived at drastic rates by police officers. I have data, and I can, if you want, we can get into a debate over that gladly. I have concrete data that debunks that claim. Okay, so I could say they're protesting over a myth, over something that is not true, based upon fear mongering that has been put out to them from the far left and the far left media. Okay, I could easily say that, and their end goal, I could argue, because some of these people actually said this. There's a clip of someone saying, "F your effing Independence Day. What we need is to overthrow this system and put in a new communist revolution." Okay, there's a literal quote of someone saying that. So I could say that's the end goal, right? If I want to pick and choose.
Okay.
But then here's the issue. Okay, here's the real issue. Because you're drawing the general goal of the average person that was protesting in favor of BLM. But you're not doing the same thing with those protesting on January 6th. The average person protesting at January 6th truly thought that the election was stolen. I'm not saying I believe that, by the way. I don't believe that. And I believe they were deceived the same way. But why do you give the grace to when the left is deceiving people, but not the grace to when the right is deceiving people?
Okay, wait, no, because I said, when I said what I said, is I made it very clear that I was talking about the violent people in January 6th.
Okay.
Those violent people wanted to overturn the election because they thought it was rigged.
Right. Okay. I agree with that.
But the problem is that BLM was not about communism. BLM was about racial equality and violence and
protesters, sure, but
you can say
riot or not necessarily.
That's false. You can say that's false, but those two things are fundamentally different, and you can't compare them because one was a standoff case about overturning election. One was a series of protests and riots that were for racial equality.
So that's what
let me have a 2 cents in here real quick, and then we're going to get off real quick. All right, Fishy. So when you're saying insurrection, can you define insurrection for me?
Like an insurrection, like the overturning of a government, or the insurrection, like the overturning of a government process, like a riot that overturns
an insurrection is a violent uprising against an authority or government. All right.
Okay. Yeah.
Would you then say that the BLM riots in that case were a form of an insurrection based on that definition?
What are you trying to say, that like because like the police and they're trying to attack the police and stuff, that was an insurrection?
Would you say that based on that definition? I'm just trying to see. Yeah, I'm just trying to see where we are logically when we're saying this stuff.
But the problem is you're trying to get like a gotcha moment on me. If I say yes, you're gonna go.
No.
Well, actually,
no. I'm not trying to get a gotcha moment. I'm just trying to see where your thought process is with this stuff.
I don't know. Sure. Okay. Hold on. Wait. It's not just a violent uprising to an authority. It'd be a violent uprising with an end result of putting in a new government or stopping a process of the government.
Okay, so yeah, that's the thing though. That was the goal of some rioters for BLM. That would I'm not saying all. I'm not even saying anywhere near majority, but that was the goal of some. And what you're doing is you're giving, and I keep saying this, you're giving one side the grace, and you're saying, oh, well, the average protester, their goal was just racial equality, so therefore BLM equal racial equality, that's the whole goal. But then on the right, you're saying, well, some were there for bad reasons, so the entire goal from the right was overturn the election.
Wait, no, but because
no. That do you see how you're doing that?
Yeah, I see how it sounds, and I don't think that's the way I'm trying to make it sound.
I just wanted to make sure. Okay, thank you.
So, but when I say when I say that, the whole purpose of January 6th was to protest the election or the result of the election.
I agree, it was.
Okay. Now the people who got violent, and what were those people? What were their goals?
Well, I think I would say the people who got violent, their specific goal was to stop the electoral college process.
Okay. Now, if their goal is to stop it, and then on the other side, what you have people who you have BLM, right, which was a which Bright Lamb riots and protests, which were the result of the George Floyd's death and a series of African Americans being killed by cops or whatever. Would you say that the purpose for those protests and riots were because of racial equality?
So I would say here's the issue again. So general protest. Here, I'm going to draw this line. Ready? General protester for BLM, racial equality. General protester on January 6th, election integrity. But extreme rioter on BLM, overthrow the system. I support Marxism. Extreme rioter on January 6th, stop the electoral process. There you go. There you go. That's how I just drew the parallels between them.
I don't think so. I don't think that a violent protester on BLM was to overthrow the government and put in Marxism.
We have clips of people saying that though, so
Yeah,
we know
of course
there's
there might be-
anecdotes to support that though.
The problem is BLM was huge. Of course, there's going to be communists who are protesting in BLM. BLM was like, I don't know, if there might have been thousands of protests, of course. But the problem is that wasn't a majority of the people who got violent. That was maybe a few. The purpose, if they wanted to overthrow the government, they would have raided, they would have stormed or like a big government building or something.
They tried to. Well, you are aware they tried to do that, don't you? There was just National Guard there prepared. They tried to do that.
They were actually successful in the state of Arizona too.
They've done that. They did that all. Wait. I can't. This is a big debating misstep for me. How did I forget to mention that? They did exactly that in multiple state houses, and they even tried to do it at the White House and at the Capitol building. But the only thing is, there were a whole host of National Guard there waiting for them because they had already rioted at more local areas, metropolitan areas beforehand. So no, dude, everything here points to the idea that you're just giving a different set of rules for the left than you are the right. If you want to look at what is actually going on, the extreme rioters in BLM are no better than the extreme rioters in January 6th. Only difference is, I would argue January 6th was a form of entrapment.
But, okay.
You don't have to believe that, though.
BLM was huge, and they rioted a ton of places, and they also rioted the capitals and stuff. But the point of this capital, people who rioted at this capitals, weren't to overthrow any form of government because they rioted a bunch of other places too.
Well, then why would they riot there? Wait, what's the point of rioting at a Capitol building?
To show a message, because they rioted everywhere else too. It was all big. It was all like a bunch of riots across America, right? Some of those happened to be Capitol buildings. The point of those riots, rioting the Capitol buildings, weren't to overthrow the government, like the violent protesters on January 6th. I don't think there's enough evidence to. I think you're making a far reach there. I don't think there's enough evidence.
No, I'm not making a far reach there. Like he just said, they were successful in doing such in the state of Arizona.
But here's the point. Okay,
so you're telling me that you don't think that they were trying. You don't think they were trying to overthrow the government by going to state houses, and you don't think that BLM, if they could have, would have taken out Donald Trump if they had the opportunity to, and wouldn't try to overthrow the executive branch? You're telling me they would not have done that?
Most violent protesters? No.
Oh my gosh, dude! No way in hell you're actually saying that, dude. There were clips. There were. I remember watching it live on the TV. They had the National Guard blocking the White House, and they have snipers up at the White House in case someone actually breaks through. And there were big, large rioters, people who had already been rioting the hell out of D.C., were pulling up to the White House and were standing there, like, ready to break through. Only thing is, they couldn't. If you're telling me if they couldn't, they wouldn't have came in and overthrew the government. Are you really saying that with an honest look in your face?
Yes.
You are absolutely inaccurate. Sorry, but you are.
There's not enough evidence to say that they would.
How is there not enough evidence to say that they would? They did it at other certain state houses. They openly, many of them said that there needed to be an overthrowing of government.
Many of them.
So the ones who were outside Washington, D.C., getting violent with police officers trying to get into the White House, you're telling me that wasn't their goal? Why would they try to get into the White
Their
House?
goal
That
was,
wasn't the
I don't
goal.
think their goal was to kill Trump. I think it was to put a bigger message. Like, it's not, like, you understand.
What
like,
message are you sending by getting into the White House?
What is the point of rioting?
Well, what do you mean? What is the point of rioting?
Do you not think rioting can be used to send a message?
No, I do. I think rioting is useless. I think it's stupid.
Okay. Well, I think. Okay, but you or do you not think that? Do you not think that?
I think that the people rioting were overwhelmingly folks who fell for, and didn't just fall for it, but in a very extreme example, drank the Kool-Aid and fell for the far left propaganda. And essentially, they believed that there was only one answer, and that answer was to disband and defund and overthrow as many police forces as they could and potentially get to the White House if they could. Yeah, I do think that. And we have evidence to support that. We do. Overwhelming evidence.
Okay, we don't have overwhelming evidence, but I
Why would they
don't
go?
know.
Why would they go and get into the
I
state
just
capitol?
said.
Of Arizona?
I just said
They
that
tried
rioting
to. You're telling. Oh my gosh, man! Come on, bro. Come on. Bro.
Okay. Well, I just
You
said
can't
that
give
rioting
a
is
different set of rules for your side. I didn't do that. You shouldn't do that either.
All right. I don't know. I don't know how we're gonna get. I think we just have to agree to disagree at this point because I don't know.
Well, I mean, listen. It was a good discussion. I think you definitely know what you're talking about to a certain extent. I'm not like trashing you at all. I think you definitely handled the challenge that I gave you, and when you talked to Anthony as well, you handled it pretty good. Only thing is, though, I do think you should try to understand what I'm coming from when I say that you shouldn't be giving your side a different set of rules, because I'm not doing that. I'm condemning the January 6th riots, and I'm condemning the violent aspect of the January 6th riots as being useless and people being deceived. So I'll draw that line there. And then also, the only thing where I disagree with you on in regards to January 6th is that I do believe it was a form of entrapment done by Nancy Pelosi. I do believe that.
Okay. Okay. Wait. Hold up. But when you say that that they fell for like a bunch of false narratives, this is for BLM and stuff.
Right.
You would say the same thing for January 6th.
100%. Yes, I do not think the election was stolen.
But in that case, when Trump pushes all these narratives and stuff, do you think when he did that he was inciting violence? Do you think he wanted?
No. He wasn't inciting violence because he made it clear that he didn't wish for people to get violent. However, did his false tales end up leading to that unintentionally? Yes. But the same exact thing can be said for everyone in the left-wing media. Everyone in the left-wing media for years has been pushing some nonsensical lie that the police are just targeting a specific group of people when no evidence to the slightest degree supports it. And I can give you receipt after receipt after receipt. And I do mean this, not any anecdotal story that you can show me means a damn thing about the overall broad picture. So so my point is that if you want to say, okay, President Trump's false tales caused what happened, I believe unintentionally, though, and I think you at least believe that too, given that he said please and patriotically, then you should draw the same line with those in the left-wing media, the Democratic politicians.
Yeah, I do think
a false tale that led to the BLM riots.
I do think, wait, I lost train of thought. So you just said that people on the left incite violence, but when Trump did it, he didn't mean for violence to happen.
No, they didn't incite violence.
It was just a result.
No, they didn't incite violence. What I'm saying is that their statements, same with Trump's, both of which, so what I'm saying is that the far left media, the left-wing politicians, their statements related to the idea that a specific group of people are getting targeted by police when that's not true.
Okay.
Those statements unintentionally, I don't think they wanted violence, at least most didn't, unintentionally caused violence. Whereas with Trump, same exact thing, his statements related to the election being stolen unintentionally caused violence. Don't think it was intentional, given that he said peacefully and patriotically. But with both, them spreading false tales didn't incite violence, but it unintentionally caused such.
Okay. What do you think if somebody said something, what would they have to say to incite violence?
Explicitly outline basically to a group of people that they need to react with some form of violence. It's that simple.
So the only way anybody can incite violence is by saying, you group of people need to go unalive somebody.
Explicitly, sure. Implicitly, not necessarily. I will understand there's a difference between explicit and implicit. So yeah, I understand. I understand. There's a line between the two. And implicit, it would just depend case by case. In the case of Trump and in case of the left, in regard to BLM, I don't think there was any explicit incitement of violence. You could argue implicit, but also you have to add in it was unintentional.
Okay, so do you think Trump unintentionally incited violence?
Not unintentionally incited, but unintentionally caused.
Okay, but what do you think the difference between those two are?
Incite and cause?
Yeah, like.
Well, incite is essentially incite is explicit. Like, you understand that, don't you?
Okay, so wait, when I say incite, it would be like.
Well, put it this way. Okay, you can cause something to happen unintentionally. You can't unintentionally incite. Incite is like explicit.
Okay, so incite's like malicious,
well, incite actually doesn't always have to be a malicious thing. In regard to violence, yes, but if let's say if Trump knew the election wasn't stolen but said this and that riled people up, would that be an unintentional incitement of violence? Well, only thing is I actually do think, I think part of that's ego, but I do actually think President Trump truly believes he won the 2020 election. I don't agree with him, but I think he does think that.
Okay. I don't know. I think this is probably as far as we're going to get. I think I got to go.
Yeah. Okay, that's cool. And also, I think that those on the far left, to an extent, a good amount of them probably do really believe the false tales that they were telling people to lead to the BLM riots. I don't think all believe that, though. Some of them have to have read study after study after study, many of which from black scholars that have debunked these myths. But I don't know. Some people on the left they want to believe anecdotes and they don't care about data. But I care about data. I don't give a shit about anecdotes. I never have and I never will.
Okay. All right. I gotta go.
All right. You have a good rest of your day.
You too.
That was interesting.
It was.
I'm sorry that I talked too much, but I couldn't stop myself.
No, I know better. When you get going, I don't really cut you guys off. You know how I am.
I think I did fairly well. Only issue was I struggled on that one point because I couldn't figure out how to articulate it. Was when I was trying to explain, and I ended up doing fine the second time I got to go. But the first time I went, I was trying to explain how he's making a different set of rules for the left when they get violent versus the right when they get violent. And the first time I kind of word saladed it. He's making word saladed it, and I didn't do too good. But the next time I did better. The point is he was making a different set of rules for them. He was trying to say that when the BLM related protests and riots take place, it's all for the purpose of racial equality. When obviously that's not always the case. But then he was saying that when January 6th happened, it was always because they wanted to overthrow the government, when that's actually not the case for the most part.
No, and why do you think I asked them to define insurrection then?
Wait, what'd you say?
When he was saying that. That's the reason why I asked them to define the insurrection.
Oh, yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, BLM, by definition, many BLM riots would constitute as insurrection.
Correct. And just by legal definition alone. Well, the thing is that like when he said that has that intent to go ahead and overthrow or go ahead and overthrow a government, that's not what it is.
Yeah, intent doesn't matter.
No, it's just a violent uprising against the government. That's all that an insurrection is.
The other issue was when he kept saying incite violence, and like when he was saying that Trump, he maybe didn't directly incite violence, but he implied it. That's not how incitement works. Incitement is a black and white term. It literally means that it has to be explicit. There's no such thing as, you could say someone caused violence unintentionally, which I would say is implicit. But when it comes to inciting violence, there's no implicitly inciting violence. Inciting something is explicit. It's intentional.
Yeah, I mean, and that's where I wanted to ask him is someone that is using their Fifth Amendment right, is that incitement? Because that's basically what Trump was doing in that situation.
Absolutely. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'll say this, he was a pretty intelligent guy overall. He definitely held his own better than I expected him to, especially because when he first came in, I kind of expected him to just be one of these, typical TikTok debaters, but no, he did better than the average, person who joins these lives for sure.
No, and if he joins the Discord, I think he'd bring good conversation to it. I did put a link in the, like Fishy Head or something like that.
Fishy Face, I think.
Fishy Face, yeah.
Fishy Face what? Can you check for sure?
I'm checking because someone did say that they wanted him to run for president, so.
I saw that. Well, yeah, I would love for him to join the server. That would be great. We need more people.
If we're able to find him, we'll reach out to him. I think he would be a good part of having conversation there. So.
Yeah. Now, I'll say, I remember the worst debater I've ever seen. Remember that guy who joined and you ended up taking it, and you guys were debating immigration, and he ended up mentioning how Trump's border wall is going to cause issues with certain species.
Yeah.
You remember that? You actually do remember that?
I do. Yes. I have my hate filter going on the entire time.
Yeah, I think you handled that one you handled it well, but also I think you partly didn't know how to handle it because you were kind of dumbfounded that
because it was such a stupid argument. It's like,
yeah, I had no idea. I expected him to come in here and maybe say something like, oh well, no human is illegal on stolen land, and that's stupid on its own. But he started bringing up, certain species are going to get hurt by building a wall.
They don't.
Yeah, no kidding, they don't.
Yeah, I was looking for the guy. I don't see him on TikTok because they just put Fishy Face for president. So
once you leave the thing, you can go back.
Oh, Fishy Face 093. Okay,
that's his name, Fishy Face 093. Yeah.
Yep.
Here, I'll leave this real quick, and I'll come right back. I'm going to leave this and go message him.
All right. Okay. Oh, we're going to go ahead. No, I think we had a good conversation with that guy. We're going to be inviting him to the server, so. I think that's it right there. All right. Well, let's go ahead and have it then, Patriot. All right. So, yeah, we'll go ahead and have it on.
That's just on my wall. There's no screen. There is nothing up there, just my plain white wall, guys. And it'll work on any color wall, any texture. This will still work. Oh, yeah, Amber, you can absolutely do that. Yeah, you can. Here, I can show you a video of that. You can absolutely do that. Look, this is the projector you're going to get, and this is what it looks like, right? You can do those window projector videos that you've probably seen all over your For You page. You guys can absolutely do that. Just play it, and then you also have a sleep timer mode, so you guys can also schedule your projector to just automatically turn off after 30 minutes to an hour or something, so you can fall asleep with those window projector videos on. So here, guys, we'll go ahead and start up another flash sale. For anyone else that wants to grab it, you will see it down below on that white banner in about 10 seconds or so, all right? So we're going to start that up for you right now. Yeah, there's a sleep timer, Amber. Yeah, it's super cool. All you do is go to your settings and then go to, go to your settings and then go to feature settings. And then you go to scheduled power off. And then look, you can set it to automatically turn off. Yeah, guys, so that flash sale just started. Go ahead and lock yours in. You guys are going to absolutely love this thing. It is a steal of a deal. For anyone that's just joining, this isn't your regular projector. It is an all-in-one 4K smart projector. You're going to have all of your streaming platforms, all of your apps directly on here. You don't have to connect this to anything else to use it, but you can connect it to all your other devices. You'll have YouTube, Netflix already pre-installed.